we'll just go ahead and get started with your name. Where are you currently located, and what kind of van do you have?
My name is Laura Edmondson. I am currently in Blanding, Utah, which is about 80 miles south of Moab. It's Navajo and Ute territory. My van is a 2013 Ford Transit Connect.
Cool. Cool. What year is it?
It's a 2013.
Oh, okay. Cool. We have an old like 1994 Chevy, so
Oh, no.
we're a little older, you know.
Yeah.
All right, so how long have you been living in your van?
I've had my van since August of last year. So I'm a year of actually owning it, but I didn't start living in it until October. So it took me a couple of months to build it out.
Oh, okay, cool. So you've only been in it, so maybe like what, a year? Is that a year and a half?
Yeah, since last October, so almost a year. And I haven't been traveling quite as much recently, just with COVID and everything. I've been trying to stay stationary. We'll probably get into this on the tour, but I don't have like a lot of the amenities you would normally need in a home, like a shower or running water or anything like that. So I'm really dependent on public access to things. And during COVID, it just doesn't feel safe to like go shower at the gym.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we empathize. That was the same reason why we're kind of laying low a little bit too. Like, because we were going to like Planet Fitness and and they were closed. So I was like, I can't take a shower. So anyway, all right. So I have one more question for you, and then we're gonna go into your van tour. But the last question before we get into that is, so why did you choose van life, and why is it important to you?
That's such a tough question to answer. I just like, I was in a place where I had the freedom to work remotely, which is such a blessing and a privilege because I know so many people dream of that. And at the same time, I was also giving up the apartment that I had been living in. I used to live up in New Hampshire, and I knew I wanted to come back out west. I used to live in Wyoming a few years ago, but I didn't know where I wanted to end up. So I was like, well, I lived in a van before, like I can do it again. And now I have a job, so I can like actually support myself and make it last longer than a few months. So that's how I ended up back in this van. It's important to me because I have such a beautiful community, but they're so far flung across the country. And being able to travel around and visit them has just been so I don't know. It's been very impactful for me over the last year to get to spend that much more time with my community, where normally it would have been 3-4 times a year, and hope that everybody could get together at the same time. Now I have the freedom and flexibility to drive around and visit everyone whenever I want.
Cool.
That's
okay.
What's up.
So like you would say like, being able to just like connect with your friends and being able to have that liberty to like travel and see your community was like one of the main reasons that got you interested in this lifestyle?
Yeah, for sure. The outdoors has always been like a more social experience for me. Like I create bonds and new friendships by being in the outdoors. So going into van life, it felt very natural that part of the reasoning behind it would be to continue building those connections.
Okay, cool. Well, let's go ahead and jump into this van tour. I have got to see it.
Yes.
Awesome. Do you want me to just like hold my computer up and like
freestyling?
Yeah, whatever you feel comfortable with doing. Yeah.
All right. On the road. So this is my 2013 Ford Transit Connect. She's pretty tiny, but she gets the job done.
What's happening?
The cab is, usually a stash spot for like snacks and now hand sanitizer and face masks and stuff. But I did want to show, this is a lei that I was gifted after spending some time in Hawaii on my trip back. And it was like partway through my time in my van. So I was like, oh, well, I have to add that to the van. It has to be part of, part of my setup. So this is the van. If you come in, you'll see my couch, which folds out into about a twin size bed. And I have had a couple of friends join me on the road, so it's spacious enough for two if you're like okay with being cozy. And then on this side is my countertop, workspace, cooktop, everything else. Yeah.
That's cool looking.
Thank you. Me and my dad built this. He really helped me with a lot of this build out, so super grateful to have his help. This drawer is kind of like my catch-all drawer. It's the only drawer that I can open with the bed pulled out, so it keeps like a lot of stuff that I think I'm gonna need or might need in the middle of the night, like my taser and my car keys. Just in case of emergency, I have those ready. I was originally gonna put a sink right here and like use this basin and cut a hole and all that stuff, but I kind of like having it as a drawer, so I just have left it so far. Down here is my tiny little mini fridge.
That's cool. I didn't even know it was gonna be a fridge. That's dope. It blends so well.
Yeah, and it's so tiny too. I think it's like a 12 can fridge. It's already broken, unfortunately. I don't know if you can tell, one of the hinges is off.
Oh, I see.
But it does the job, and I'm vegan, so I don't need a ton of like meat and like dairy that gets stored. I just need like any vegetables or leftover food or any drinks I want to keep cold. So it's small.
So how do you keep it cool? What is it like? You plug it in or?
Yeah, it's an electric fridge. And it has, let me see if I can turn it on. Go down here real quick. Okay, so it's an electric fridge and it has a temperature control. How do I do this? I can change whatever temperature I want it to be. So if I don't want to overtax my battery by keeping it at like 40 degrees, I can bump it up to 50 degrees. And that way, whatever drinks or whatever I have in there is not going to spoil at 50 degrees, but it won't overdraw my battery. I have You'll probably notice is there's not a lot of like electrical elements to the van because that was way over my head. I didn't want to have to worry about anything while I was on the road that I couldn't fix. So like my lights are just touch lights. They're not connected to like a switch or anything connected to the battery. They're like their own little independent puck lights that just run off battery. So like I tried to keep it super simple so that if anything fell apart and it needed fixing, I would know how to fix it.
I feel you on that.
Yeah,
just keep it simple, keep it easy going. I'm with you on that. Yeah.
So unfortunately, I don't know how much wattage it takes up, but you could probably look it up if you were going to buy it. This is my stove. It's a little 2-burner Coleman stove, and it's actually the stove that I grew up camping with as a kid. It's older than I am. My parents had it before they had me. But when they upgraded to their RV a couple years ago, I got to snag the stove, and it's still going strong. It works. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's like a little antique, but it does the job pretty well. Boiled water, basically all I ever need. Then moving further down, I don't know what you all can see. There we go. This is food storage, and basically anything that can be heated up, like boiled on the stove, like soup or something, or just add like hot water to. That's usually my go-to because it's very simple and easy to clean up. But I also keep like crackers and tea and other random stuff like seasonings and stuff in here. And what you might notice about the drawers as well is it's basically just like a wooden box. There's no tracks on the drawers.
Oh, okay.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Super simple, partly for cost, partly for time, and again, partly because if something breaks, I don't want to have to worry about not being able to fix it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Another question I got for you. So what's your favorite like go-to vegan snack on the road? 'Cause we're vegan too, so
it's always popcorn.
Popcorn. All right.
Always popcorn. I'm obsessed. I'm always talking about it on my Instagram. Like, this is what I put on my popcorn today. Yeah.
Awesome.
I feel you. I feel you. Yeah. The chill, easy snack.
Yeah. Yeah. I always keep a thing of Nooch and a thing of Bragg's no salt seasoning, because that's what I put on my popcorn. It's always
See, my combo is the Nooch, and I get this like garlic salt, like California seasoning. I don't know. They put like parsley in it. I don't know. They put some crazy stuff in it, but it's like so good.
Oh yeah, I just learned sesame oil is really good to use when you cook. Like, put about like a tablespoon or two of sesame oil when you cook your popcorn. It's a game changer. It's so good.
Yeah, I gotta try that. Yeah, I gotta try that. Yeah, the sesame oil adds that flavor, that nutty flavor. Yeah,
it's amazing. I was somebody on Instagram messaged me that idea. It's not mine, but it was delicious. Okay, down here is trash bags, propane canisters. These are the ones that I normally use, just the small ones, because I didn't really want to have one of the big giant ones, because I was afraid if I ever got into a car accident that it would explode. A few other random things like baby wipes. You can't really live in a van without baby wipes.
Yes, that is so important. The baby wipes, a clutch, man.
I mean, you could live in a van without baby wipes, but it would be tricky.
Yeah, it'd be difficult.
It'd be very difficult, man.
Right here is my toiletries. So I have this little like tote thing that I carry into Planet Fitness with me whenever I need to go in for a shower, and then extra contacts and things like that. And then down here, is my pot, some dish towels, and it's extra storage for food or anything else that won't fit in any other drawers. If we go around the back, or if we go out the back, I can show you my battery, which is down here as well. Okay. So there we go. This is my Yeti 400.
We had the same battery.
Yeah, I like it. It's pretty good. It does like the fan. I have I can't remember, a Fantastic fan, I think is the one I have. But yeah, the Yeti does great. It's charged by the van. Whenever I'm driving, I have a plug, 12-volt socket back here, so I can plug it in that way. And then I also have a 100-watt solar panel on the roof.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a flexible solar panel, so it's just like industrial strength Velcro. I just use industrial strength Velcro to adhese it to the roof.
That's cool.
Yeah. So again, super simple. I didn't want to deal with like creating a big battery bank or anything like that, just because I knew that's more advanced than I wanted to get. The bed is like a slat bed. So the slats like pull out. Here, let me see if I can creatively film this. This part slides over.
Gotcha.
And the bed just like pulls out flat.
Okay, cool.
There's a lot of open space. I've got shoe storage right here. And then let's go this way. On this side is my climbing gear and some dog stuff, because my little dog travels with me, and like jackets and stuff in this.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's dope. But yeah, your band's very organized. It's very, clean, simple, and like, what I'm saying, to the point. Like, I like that. I like the minimalistic idea of van living. Because some vans is cool when they have like all the stuff in it, but I like seeing van lifers who have like a minimal, just a minimal, simple setup, something that's more practical for people who just want to start out. You know what I mean? It's not overwhelming. So I'm glad that we were able to have somebody on here that has that kind of setup and everything. So yeah, that's dope. It's a dope build. It's dope.
Thank you. This is my little command center right here. So my fan, which I can set the temperature. If I ever have to like leave my pup in the van, like to go in and get groceries or something, I can set the fan to kick on at a certain temperature. Remote control for my lights. You know, restroom on the go.
Yeah, you gotta have that.
Tell us a little bit about that. So, I mean, since we have like similar build, like what is that little purple thing? How does that work?
So this is my friend Ty, who gave it to me, calls it a pee device. It's basically a little like funnel to aid in using the restroom without having an actual restroom. So you could theoretically stand up outside somewhere and go use the restroom.
So what is it? Do you just like it stays in there, like you like just empty it out when it's like full?
It's kind of shaped like this. So yeah, it just like runs out onto the ground.
Oh,
okay, got you. Yeah.
Oh, it's good for us girls so we don't have to squat and expose ourselves to the elements. Okay.
Exactly. Anybody who might need to squat, you don't have to anymore because you can use, I think this one's called Venus to Mars. Take a stand is what it says. Out there. But I mean, I was very hesitant and it has come in so handy. Like it is definitely worth trying out.
Yeah. For everyone who's watching this and who's on the road and has to squat, it's a thing. Like,
yeah. This is a thermostat, which Bluetooth to my phone, so it'll alert me if the van gets a little
my phone keeps falling. I wasn't doing this earlier. Like,
this is a little mini fire extinguisher, just in case, smoke detector, and carbon monoxide. Yeah, and then a little dustpan and dehumidifier.
Ooh, I love it.
My cell phone booster, which is very key for working on the road. If I ever don't have Wi-Fi, I can just hotspot my phone and use the booster to do that. That's what this wire is for too.
Oh, cool.
My closet.
Oh yeah, you got some more storage space up there. Cool.
So yeah, my dad and I built this shelf over the cab for all my storage, and then it also has my sticker wall underneath.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So
nice.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
I love it. It's clean. It's a clean build. Like I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. It's dope.
Like, we see like so many people's builds. Like, I mean, we see people who have like buses, or people who were able to like get it like built out for them and like were able to like afford, pay to have someone like build it for them. But like it's so wholesome seeing like a simple, put together, elegant, like clean. It's just so like cozy. That's
clean. Yeah.
Very clean, cozy.
So I spent a lot of time like trying to decide exactly what I needed and what I wanted out of the van. And I lived in a van 5 years ago for like 4 months, and it was even more simple. It was like a Ford Econoline with like a plywood frame for a bed and a cooler, and that was basically it. It was super simple, but I liked it. I liked it that way. But I wanted this one to be kind of along those same lines where it's very simple, but elevated a little bit. And I think I found a good balance that works for me anyway.
Yeah. So when it came to transitioning into a van like full time, what were some of the things that you had to like minimalize on? Because you have a very minimal van. So did you have to like, how did that process go of like minimalizing your whole life into this simple setup?
Yeah, I've always been kind of a minimalist, especially ever since that first van trip. I just realized how much I could live without. So after that trip, I had already kind of downsized a lot. And now I just kind of switch between seasons. That's basically what I do. So I have most of the stuff I need for summer with me right now. And I have a couple of cold weather things just in case I go into a colder climate. And then the rest of my stuff, the other half of my stuff is at my parents' house. So whenever I go home for Christmas, I'll just switch everything out and then have my winter stuff. And then usually I go back home twice a year. So I have about half of my clothes with me at a time.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. Living minimally has like been very natural for me. I'm always trying to downsize even now. So
well, what are some downsizing tips or ideas you have for someone who's like, you know, because we've interviewed somebody who had like a 5-bedroom house and they went down into a school bus. Now, given they had kids, but it was still such a large transition. So for someone who's living in a house and has all their stuff, like what is some tips to help them kind of make that transition into like a van or a mobile home?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, for me, I definitely did it over time. Like I went on a backpacking trip for a couple of months before I lived in the van the first time. And all I had was my backpack with me, and it lasted me for 3 months. And I was like, oh, like when I got back, I was like, why do I have all this stuff? Like, I don't need all this stuff. I just used 6 outfits for the last 3 months, and that was all I ever needed. Like, so I would say try and create some experiences like that and see what you need. So go somewhere, try and pack minimally and see what you can get by with. Notice what you're missing and notice what you didn't use and find that balance between what you need and what you actually brought and see if you can like lose some stuff that way. Don't feel like you have to get rid of everything. Like I said, this is not everything I own. A lot of my stuff is still at my parents' house. Or like I said, half of my stuff is still at my parents' house. So if you have a place that you can store stuff, like that's okay too. One of my former traveling companions used to say something like, we're not going to Mars. So just because you didn't bring it with you doesn't mean you can't get it where you're going. So like we still live in the world. If I needed to like go buy a sweatshirt, like I got stuck in Oregon, or I didn't get stuck there. I was in Oregon because I like Oregon, but it got very cold unexpectedly. And I didn't have my winter stuff with me. So I had to go buy a sweatshirt and like, that's okay. Sometimes you just have to like be willing to do that and just be willing to be flexible. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like there's no minimalism ideal. It doesn't have to be anyone else's version of minimalism but yours. If you want to forego your food storage for like extra shoes or whatever, do it. That's fine. I don't know if I answered your question, but
oh no, that was a good answer. That was good.
That was really good because I mean that's an experience that we've had in the van of really actually looking at what we use, what we need but don't use, and what is kind of just floating in the van but like has no purpose. So well, for me, like we have a lot of clothes. Like I'm looking at them right now. Like you can't see them, but it's like it's just this monster of clothing. Because you know we like to wear different stuff. But even in that, I can tell I'm like, yeah, I don't really wear this as much, so maybe I should. You know, I give to the Goodwill too, but then also some stuff I like keep in my parents' house. Like I don't have to take like all my clothing right now, you know. So
yeah. And I mean, it's definitely like I'm super privileged to have the space, and my parents are like willing to let me leave my stuff at their house. Cause I know a lot of people are like, you know, don't have that option, and you might have to rent a storage unit. But yeah, I mean, get as creative as you can. I have so many clothes. Like it doesn't look like it right now, but that shelf goes like 3 feet in that direction.
Oh wow.
2 feet maybe in that direction. That's the entire width of the van. So like there's a lot of stuff in there. I'm not super minimal in that area. But yeah, I think the hardest thing to get rid of probably for a lot of people would be furniture. So if you really get down to it, what do most people have in there? If they've got a 5-bedroom house, it's probably like a lot of their furniture.
Yeah.
That's true.
And I didn't have a ton of furniture when I moved out of my apartment. So
yeah, me neither. Yeah, I didn't really have. I had already been like slowly downsizing in my own way. You know what I mean? I was kind of I was already doing my like purging of things that I had but I didn't need. I think
do it over time. It doesn't need to be immediate. It's not like you have to do like an entire weekend of Marie Kondo and throw everything out that doesn't spark joy. I mean, if you want to, that's fine, but you don't have to do it that way. You can do it over time.
That's true.
So what are some of the things that you don't like about living in your van so far?
I think the hardest thing has been trying to work consistently. And now I'm doing more freelance, but when I first started out in the van, I was working in 9 to 5. And so like constantly on the search for Wi-Fi or a reliable enough space where I could hotspot my phone was like one of the hardest things to do, because obviously like part of the reason I wanted to go out into the van was to see my friends, but also to just like see nature and get out into more remote areas. But I couldn't do that in the beginning. So I think kind of being more realistic about what life was going to look like while managing a 9 to 5 job would have helped for sure.
Yeah.
That Wi-Fi thing is real. It's a real thing. It is a challenge. It's like it's been a lot of days where we were riding around trying to find like Wi-Fi and trying to hook up so we can get things done, post and all that kind of junk. So yeah, that can be challenging. That definitely can be challenging.
Yeah.
So how have you kind of worked around that? Like, what do you do now? I know you said you do like freelance work, but how does that work now?
Yeah. So I'm not like working out of the van right now. I'm staying with my partner. So I get to use their Wi-Fi. But before, I would just kind of depend on coffee shops if I needed them. Now that's part of the reason I'm not traveling, because I am so dependent on the internet, and going to a coffee shop right now just doesn't feel like a great idea. Unnecessarily so. So yeah, I kind of just depend on coffee shops. When I was working 9 to 5, I would just like go post up in a Starbucks. Like, I don't really mess with Starbucks that hard, but if I'm gonna go take up space in somebody's coffee shop and not really buy much, I'm gonna go take advantage of Starbucks free Wi-Fi rather than like go sit in independent cafe and like use up their space and their Wi-Fi. But then you're spending $5 a day on coffee or whatever else, so you kind of got to budget that in. And
it adds.
That's true. That's true.
So all right, so we already went over like why you started this van life. I mean, why you started living this way. Okay, here's a good one. So kind of broadening the discussion a little bit, why do you think this lifestyle is important to Black community?
I feel like we have a lot of nomadic roots. I feel like moving around and like being somewhat rootless feels natural for me. And I think it might for a lot of people. I think it's good to get out and see the world. And this is a way to really experience it, because when you fly somewhere, you miss all the places in between. But in my van, if I want to go 3 states away, I'm going to be stopping along the way and getting to see more of the country that way. So I think just getting to have that extended experience, that broadened experience of traveling is nice. Getting to be out in nature is something that a lot of us have been denied in the past or haven't had access to in the past. And that's a big part of van life for me. I know it is for a lot of other people too. I don't know a ton of like exclusively urban van lifers. So yeah, I think just expanding our experiences and increasing representation so that other Black folks who might want to try something like this can see themselves doing it already.
Absolutely.
How would you recommend, because we have, out of the people who follow Black nomads, we have a healthy ratio of people who are already doing it, and then a lot of people who are trying to learn more about it. So how would you recommend somebody get started? And let's say, somebody who isn't necessarily like who hasn't really been backpacking like yourself, or hasn't already like lived in a vehicle and is more like kind of adapted to the lifestyle. How would you recommend someone like that get started?
I would say try it out if you can. If you can borrow a van or rent one, even if you can like rent an RV, I would say try it out just to make sure you think. I mean, you're interested, so you probably already feel like it's going to be right for you. But I would say try it out for a few days or a week if you can. Do a ton of research. YouTube has so many free resources. Everybody who's ever built a van wants to show it off to you and like has made a YouTube video about it. You can watch it. They'll tell you everything you want to know, from like the size bolts that they use to like what kind of wire to get for your battery. Like you can find all the information out there for free. It just takes time. So if you're interested, start now. Even if you don't have a budget, even if you don't know when you're going to do, I would say when you're going to do it, I would say start researching now, because that's the biggest thing. It just takes time. Before I even knew I wanted to buy a van again, I was already watching videos just because I was interested in them. Consider the community that you have around you. So I was really lucky. My dad works in construction. He's super handy, had all the tools I needed. So I was very lucky that way. Consider who you might know that has resources like that, especially if cost is going to be an issue. Like almost all of the materials in here, like the walls, all of the wood and the countertop is all cast offs from old construction jobs.
Oh,
so like
cool.
consider free resources that are out there that you might not know about. And the fact that I know about those is, one, for my dad because he brought them home from his construction site, but two, I even considered it because that's what a lot of people do in their vans, which I again learned on YouTube. So yeah, just reach out to the community. I mean, there are so many of us. I'm open to anybody who has questions or wants advice. Like I posted resources on my page. I know other people have too. And I think that, yeah, we want to see the van life space get diversified. So if you know of any other Black van lifers, reach out, ask us questions.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that. Because I think that's something that is already starting to brew in this platform, is that, I think every day I meet at least, or I see on social media, like another Black van lifer. Never heard of them before, never seen them before. And it's not for lack of posting. It's just, I just never came across them.
Yeah,
and the Black Nomad platform. Yeah, exactly. Like I saw, you were one of those people I was like, oh wow, I never, she never came across, like followed you, or, we did the exchange. So it's like, we're really out here. And I think that becomes more and more true every day when I go on the page and I see who new followers we have. Like I meet one every single day. Like, and we've had
every day
like a year now. So every day we see somebody new. With that being said, what are some takeaways that you want people to gain from this interview and from your experience of living on the road?
I want people to know that like you can do it. And I don't mean like you physically have the ability to do it. I mean like whatever permission you're waiting for, you can give that permission to yourself. Like just start. There's nothing else that you need to wait for. Obviously, like it takes time to save up. It takes time to find the right van. But like I said, you can start researching now. You can start reaching out to people now. Finding those people in your community who can help you with the project, because it takes effort from multiple people. I couldn't have done this by myself. I certainly didn't do this by myself. Even just like the help from my dad, like he's not the only one who helped me. My uncle helped me cut the hole in my ceiling for the fan, and all of the people who posted on YouTube helped me by sharing their knowledge. So just start with whatever you have, whether it's interest, capital, whatever. Start where you are and go for it. We need you out here. We want to have more Black and brown faces on the road.
Yes, you hear that, everybody who's watching, who will be watching this, just go out and give it a try. Yes, because that's basically what we did. Like we said we wanted to do it. We got a van like that following summer, and we've been doing it for about I don't know what, like a year and a half, Bruce?
Yeah, like a year and a half.
Yeah, like around a year and a half. So yeah, we're around the same mark as you. Like we were kind of living in the van, but not really. And then we kind of went into it full time, actually right around August. around August
Yeah.
and September. So
Yeah, around August. Yep.
And don't buy the hype that you have to have a Sprinter or any particular model of van. Like, I have the tiniest, like one of the tiniest vans you can buy. It's very, like we talked about, simple. But I love it, and it works perfectly for me. So like do whatever build out works for you.
Yeah,
that's
definitely
part of van life is like getting to design each little piece and make it so custom to your specific needs. That was like one of my favorite parts of it.
Yeah, and I really like your build for that. Like we've seen, I mean, even even in addition to this like virtual tour that we have with a few other people, just period. I mean, we've seen some like extravagant stuff. Like we've seen people who got it just totally built out, and then we see people, you know, like you who are just did the whole thing by themselves and with the help of people who like care about their vision and their dream. And it's just, it's really, like I said, it's cozy and it's really comfortable. So I love your van.
Yeah, that's no shade. That's no shade to the Sprinter owners. Like I've done
no shade.
They're very, very nice. But if what's holding you back is the idea that you have to have a big Sprinter van, that's not true.
Yeah, this lifestyle is very affordable. It's very achievable. Of course, you know, Bruce and I, we had to work and save up to it. But, you know, like you said, like once you believe that you want to do whatever is holding you back, even if it is finances, like, you know, save up your money, like just hustle for it. You know, and that's, and
most definitely.
Yeah.
So,
most definitely.
I have been pretty open. My van build, like the actual construction of the or the actual conversion project was $3,000, and it could have been less.
Cool.
So you have to buy the van, but you can find a relatively cheap van, and then again using those recycled cast off products or materials, you can keep it pretty cheap.
Yeah. So how much was your one last question. So how much was your whole build, like including the purchase of the van and the build out?
The van was $11,000 for it was a 2013 with 45,000 miles. So really low miles. And this year of the Transit Connect is the last one that had this high of a ceiling. After 2013, they lowered the ceiling, so I wouldn't have been able to sit up like this, which is why I got this year. But it was $11,000 for the van, and then the build out was about $3,000.
Okay, so what, give or take like 14,000
and everything that I bought, like literally everything.
Yeah, see, so very affordable, very affordable.
Yeah, very affordable. I mean, I know there's people who spend like $50,000 to $100,000 building out their vans, and if you got it like that, I love that for you. That's not my experience.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh man, I empathize. Everything you're saying, I'm just like, yep. Yeah, I know.
Yep.
As far as like upfront costs go, I actually financed my van. I've paid it off now, but like I bought my van from a dealership. I traded in my old car. So as far as like actually investing into the project, the money that it cost me up front was far less. It was maybe like $5,000 with the van down payment and the build out.
Okay.
And then you just pay it off over time if that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
Right.
So that is another like way to that's kind of, and I don't see a lot of people who do it that way. I mean, I'm sure they do. But a lot of people either just like outright, you know, get you know, one and then like kind of pay it off. That's like a little more expensive, or they just outright buy like a used van. But that's a really good, because we looked into doing that too.
Yeah, we did it first.
The time. I mean, we kind of just were like, no, we just want to buy it. Like we just want to buy it, drop it, like drop the coin and just be done with it. But that is a really good option if there's a certain kind of van you want, but you can't afford it right now. So definitely.
Yeah. Build that credit too.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true. It's true. Yeah.
So, all right. Well,
yeah. So this was cool, man. I appreciate you, sis, for like allowing us to, you know, come into your home and you just showing us everything. It's much appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, thanks for reaching out to me. I'm glad to be part of the project.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, if you have any questions, just reach out to us. Yeah.
Awesome. Will do.
All right.
All right.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Peace.
Bye.
Peace.